the fourth installment in the Conjuring Universe. Annabelle for movie 2025 is coming soon and will finally put an end to the story of the possessed doll that has terrified audiences around the world for over a decade. But before we get there, we need to take a look back at how it all began and how Annabelle has become one of the most terrifying dolls in cinematic history. If you're new here, welcome. I'm your host, and this is Top 10 Nerd, where we bring you the latest in news, reviews, and commentary from the world of pop culture. Today, let's take a look at Annabelle 4, the history of a possessed doll. Annabelle, based on the real-life possessed doll of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, made its debut in 2014 with Annabelle, a prequel to the Conjuring Universe that takes us back to the early 70s, where we meet young single mother Angie and her two daughters. Soon after moving into their new home, they receive a mysterious gift from a well-meaning but creepy old woman named Evelyn, who just can't stop staring at the family. The present, a beautiful porcelain doll that looks eerily similar to one that had belonged to Evelyn's daughter when she was alive. Little do they know, this doll is actually Annabelle Higgins, the same doll that would later be locked up in the Warrens' artifact room. And after some strange occurrences, Angie's daughter decides to hold a seance to summon the spirit of the doll, only to find out that it already possesses her, and so begins the evil entity's sinister plan for world domination or something like that. I'm being honest when I say that I didn't really think about watching Annabelle again. I saw it when it came out. It was fine, nothing special. Pretty typical haunted object story, you know? It's a kind of thing that could have been solved if they just threw out the doll or burned it or something. But no, instead they decided to play with it and hold seances for it and stuff. And also, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but whenever I see Annabelle, I always get the sense that she's not even trying to possess people. She just does. One minute someone's normal, next minute they're growling and attacking everyone around them. There's no build-up, no struggle, no building sense of dread. It's just bam. Now I'm a rabid animal. That's kind of annoying if you ask me. Also, the fact that she's such a passive antagonist doesn't make her all that scary. Sure, she looks cool and otherworldly, and she wears that creepy smile. But when you have characters in your movie that are more scared of a doll than I am, then you know you haven't done your job right. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. In any case, the first film did okay at the box office. It grossed over $300 million worldwide against a budget of $5 million. So I guess people liked it enough for a sequel, which brings us to Annabelle. Creation. This time we travel back to 1955, where we meet Samuel and Esther, an elderly couple who run a home for disabled girls. They take in Annabelle, a sweet but traumatized young girl who has recently lost her parents in a car accident. While staying at the home, Annabelle makes friends with the other girls and quickly becomes close to one of the caretaker's daughters named Janice, who gives her a doll that looks remarkably like her. But after a tragic accident, Annabelle's anger grows and she transfers her hatred onto the doll, turning it into the vengeful spirit known as Annabelle. This time, the doll actually tries to kill people, so that's nice. And it turns out the spirit of the doll is actually the ghost of a young girl named Annabella, who died in 1870 after being denied an abortion by nuns, who were running a convent where her mother took her. The movie ends with the doll being thrown out in the trash and a new family moving into the house. And if you thought you recognized the face of the girl inside the doll, then you'd be right. That was Samara Weaving, who would go on to star in the recent Candyman movie and who is also set to play the lead role in the fourth movie. Creation did even better than the original, grossing over $340 million worldwide against a budget of $15 million. So naturally, New Line Cinema, the production company behind the series, wanted to continue milking the franchise for all it was worth. Unfortunately, Annabelle Comes Home, the third movie in the series, didn't come anywhere near the success of its predecessors, grossing less than $200 million worldwide against a budget of $50 million. This was the first film in the series to be directed by a woman, Gary Daub, who did a fine job with the limited material she was given, but still couldn't save the movie from feeling like a cash grab. This time we meet the Warrens' daughter, who brings home a mysterious music box that serves as a gateway for demons to enter our reality. Then she leaves town and locks her little sister in the house with orders to stay in her room at all costs. Of course, she doesn't listen, and soon demonic forces begin to enter the house and possess her. Thankfully, though, the Warrens return just in time to save the day and lock Annabelle away in their artifact room, supposedly for good this time. Finally, after 7 years, we'll be seeing the conclusion of the Annabelle story in Annabelle for movie 2025. Currently titled Annabelle 4, the final chapter. But before we get to see what's going to happen in the latest installment, we have to talk about the real Annabelle doll, the inspiration for the character played by Samara Weaving in the movies. Annabelle is a 7-inch Raggedy Ann doll that was purchased by paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren in 1970 after being contacted by a woman who claimed it was possessed. According to the Warrens, the doll became increasingly violent and aggressive towards them, leading them to believe that it was cursed. They placed the doll in a glass case, and it was eventually moved to the Warren S. Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut, where it remains on display today. However, despite the stories told by the Warrens, many skeptics have come forward to question the authenticity of the doll's curse, with some claiming that the doll was simply a hoax created by the Warrens to attract attention to their business. Despite the controversy, the Annabelle doll remains one of the most famous and infamous artifacts in the museum's collection, drawing visitors from all over the world to come and see it for themselves. So now you're all caught up on the history of Annabelle, both the fictional character and the real-life doll that inspired her. Now let's talk about what we can expect from Annabelle 4, the final chapter, the upcoming movie that will wrap up the character's story once and for all. Not much is known about the plot of the film, but it is rumored that it will take place in the year 2025, hence the subtitle, Movie 2025, and will follow a group of young friends who accidentally unleash the demon inside the doll. Samara Weaving has confirmed that she will be reprising her role as Annabelle, which suggests that the film may serve as a direct sequel to Annabelle Comes Home. Fans are hoping for a more terrifying and less convoluted story than the previous films, with many expressing their desire for a more active and less passive antagonist. Some have even suggested that the doll should be more prominently featured in the film, as it was largely absent from Annabelle Comes Home, which focused primarily on the Warrens' daughter and her friends. Overall, the reception to the announcement of Annabelle 4, the final chapter, has been mixed, with some fans expressing excitement for the return of Samara Weaving and the conclusion of the Annabelle story. Still, many are skeptical of the film's ability to deliver a satisfying ending to the franchise. Only time will tell whether Annabelle 4, the final chapter, will live up to expectations and provide a fitting conclusion to the Annabelle story, or if it will simply be another disappointing entry in the franchise. What do you think? Are you excited for Annabelle 4, the final chapter, or do you think it's too little too late? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, while you're at it, follow us for more great videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and happy haunting.